High-functioning anxiety. Welcome back to Smart Growth. Today, we are taking off the mask. Just sit with that for a second. Let it really land. See, this isn't about you being weak. Not at all. It's about the crushing, relentless weight of having to be strong all the time. So let's talk about the paradox, right? Because on the outside, you are the picture of success. You're organized, you're reliable, you're that person who just always has it together. Your calendar, it's a masterpiece, you never miss a deadline. And people, they look at you, and they wonder, how do you do it all? But on the inside, in those quiet moments when no one's watching, there's this constant low-grade scream, isn't there? It feels like you're drowning, and everyone on the shore is just praising you for being such a great swimmer. To really get a handle on this feeling, this internal war, psychologist Dr. Lolita Siglani has this incredible analogy. It's the swan. And honestly, it captures this whole thing perfectly, okay? Now let's break this down. Above the water, what does the world see? They see grace. You look calm, collected, and absolutely perfect. But beneath the surface, hidden from everyone, that's where the real story is. It's just this frantic, exhausting struggle. Your legs are just paddling furiously, right? And that paddling, that's the overthinking. That's the people-pleasing. That's your mind jumping to the worst-case scenario every single time. It is this desperate, completely invisible effort just to stay afloat. So does that frantic paddling, does that feel familiar to you? Because the world rewards that calm exterior, doesn't it? So we just learn to ignore the chaos happening inside. But listen, these aren't just personality quirks, they're symptoms. They items on a hidden checklist that you've probably been ticking off for years without even realizing it. Alright, now first on the list is that you're a high achiever. A perfectionist, always over-prepared. Now, to the world, that just looks like you're driven, right? You're the one who shows up early. You've thought of every possible outcome. But let's be honest, this isn't really about excellence, is it? It's about a desperate need for control. It's a way to try and quiet that voice in your head. That fear that, if you miss one tiny detail, everything is going to completely fall apart. And because of that, you rarely, if ever, say no. You're the helpful one, the reliable one. You're the go-to person, but your inability to say no, it's not really about generosity. It's a defense mechanism. It's driven by this deep fear of letting people down. Of being seen as anything less than perfect, so you end up sacrificing your own well-being just to manage how other people see you. Which leads to this, you feel guilty whenever you try to rest. The second you stop moving, the guilt just floods in. You tell yourself you're being lazy, you're unproductive, you're falling behind. So you just keep going. At this point, productivity isn't a habit. It's a coping mechanism. It is literally how you outrun that constant churning anxiety inside your own head. And then, at the end of the day, your head finally hits the pillow. The to-do list is done. The day is over, but sleep, no chance. The moment it gets quiet, your mind just kicks into overdrive. You're replaying conversations, dissecting every tiny mistake, and worrying about a future that hasn't even happened. Real rest feels like something that happens to other people, right? A total myth. And finally, the crash. All day long, you hold it all together. You're performing. You're playing the role of the person who is okay. But the second you walk through your front door, the mask just shatters. And the exhaustion, it hits you like a wave. It's a physical force, that's the crash. That's the brutal price you pay for all the energy it took just to appear fine. Okay, if all of this is feeling painfully familiar, it is so easy to start blaming yourself. To think there's something wrong with you. That you're somehow broken, but I need you to hear this. What if this isn't a character flaw? What if it's actually a highly sophisticated and, deeply painful defense mechanism? This is your brain just trying to survive. So, at the very core of this survival engine is a psychological process called sublimation. Dr. K from Healthy Gamer explains it like this. Deep down, part of you just wants to stop. You want to quit. You want to give up. But that feeling that feels completely unacceptable, it's dangerous. It threatens this entire identity you built as the strong one. So your brain does something kind of brilliant. It channels that urge to quit into its exact opposite, hyperproductivity. You just work even harder, And this is the trap. This is the vicious cycle that keeps you stuck. So, step 1, you feel bad. You're overwhelmed, unhappy, you just want it to stop. But instead of listening to that, you move to step 2. You sublimate, you double down, you work harder, you take on even more. Which leads to step 3, you preserve your identity. You reinforce that image of being the strong one. The one who can handle anything, but it comes at a huge cost. Which is step 4, you feel worse, you become more exhausted and more disconnected from who you actually are. And this gets to the heart of the lie we've all been sold, right? That if you're producing, if your output is high, you must be okay. This quote just cuts right through that. Functioning doesn't mean you're fine. It means you built systems around your fear. Think about that. You're not fine. You've just gotten really, really good at building systems. Your schedules, your lists, your routines. All of it designed to manage this deep-seated fear. So what's the price you pay for all this? It's profound. To keep this whole survival engine running, you have to start shutting off the signals your own body is screaming at you. You ignore the sadness, the exhaustion. The need for rest. Dr. K has a name for this. He calls it psychic amputation. You are literally, gradually, severing the connection to your own feelings. And that is why you can achieve everything you thought you wanted and still feel completely hollow and numb inside. So, okay? If that's the trap, how in the world do you get out of it? Well, I can tell you it's not another productivity hack. It's definitely not about trying even harder. The way out requires a fundamental rewiring of your entire sense of self-worth. So how do you actually do that? How do you break the cycle? How do you stop paddling so frantically? And finally learn how to just float? It all starts with this. You have to unlearn the idea that your value comes from what you do for other people. This is a lifetime of conditioning we're talking about. Dr. Saglani explains it as learning to stop living outside in, where you're constantly looking outside of yourself for validation, for proof that you're good enough. The real journey is learning how to live inside out. That your sense of worth comes from you, not from them. And look, this is the real work. It's not a quick fix. First, it's about developing self-compassion. Actually treating yourself with the same kindness you give so freely to everyone else. It is about learning to silence that inner critic that is always telling you you're not doing enough. Then, it's about connecting with your own needs, pausing, taking a breath and asking, wait, what do I actually want right now? Not what they expect. And finally, it's about practicing the terrifying but liberating act of saying no. And then learning to sit with the guilt and discomfort that comes after without immediately trying to fix it. And this quote from Dr. Saglani, this is everything. The goal is to disconnect your nervous system from their reaction. Let that sink in. When you set a boundary, when you say no when someone else is disappointed, their feeling is their responsibility to manage, not yours to fix. Your job is to regulate your own nervous system, not theirs. Their reaction does not have to become your emergency. So I want to leave you with this question. For years, you have mastered the art of functioning. You've perfected the art of surviving. But if all of this effort, all of this exhaustion is just what it takes to survive, what could it finally feel like to truly live? If this video helped you lower your mask, please hit the subscribe button and like this video. Thanks for watching. Always remember we are figuring this out together.